How did this professional nurse use the knowledge she knows to scam people out of thousands of dollars?
What do you predict this community is going to think when they find out the truth?
I think a lot of people are going to be shocked.
Well, this is Mary Bennett. Not so long ago, she used to be a nurse, using the knowledge that she had to manipulate people into believing that she had cancer, while ticking everything off of her bucket list, while making other people pay for it who felt guilty and just felt pity for her, as they believed she only had months to live. And we're going to get into this full story from the first time when she faked all the way to being prosecuted and the outcome of what the judge sentenced her to. But if you guys are enjoying these types of videos, please consider hitting the bell button and clicking on all notifications. Then that way you guys will never miss a video, and I'd really appreciate it.
Really fake your cancer.
I have no comment. You can talk to my lawyers and stuff.
But why don't you have a comment? Don't you want to say something to all the people who gave you money and gave you their prayers and their love? But Mary Bennett had nothing to say to anyone.
No one's talking about how amazing and generous her community is. A pity she took advantage of them. This is why people hesitate to help each other out. You never know when they actually need it or if they are faking. This makes me sick to my stomach and ticks me off to no end. I am a 2-time stage 3 cancer survivor, and to think you have someone out there playing on their kindness of others is just mind-blowing. I couldn't imagine going through the 12th week of radiation and 11 rounds of chemotherapy without family and friends by my side. I pray this woman is persecuted to the fullest extent of the law and forced to repay for her lavish trips and whatnot, as she stood there in a courtroom in front of all the people she scammed and pled guilty or asking for their forgiveness. And in her words, her reasoning for committing this awful crime.
Forsyth County Sheriff's Department says that she's a fake.
Then that breaks my heart.
It wasn't about the money. It was about my mental illness.
So, who is Mary Bennett? Well, she is a 29-year-old nurse from North Carolina who, back a few years ago, claimed that she had ovarian cancer, telling all her co-workers that she only had months to live, and very conveniently had a massive array of things on her bucket list. Things that she wanted to do before she died from her ovarian cancer. And all these things included stuff like a free trip to New Orleans, a free hot air balloon ride, even a free weekend at Treasure Bay in Biloxi. In fact, it goes on and on. So much that honestly it's best if I just play this clip from the news station of them explaining every single thing that Mary Bennett took, because she took a lot of stuff.
A free fishing trip in the Gulf, a free ride on the Skyview over Centennial Park, a free hunting trip with celebrity hunter Haley Heath, free Braves tickets, including a signed card from Freddie Freeman, Jason Hayward, Andrelton Simmons, and manager Freddie Gonzalez, saying Mary was, quote, in our thoughts and prayers. A ride-along with the Lumpkin County Sheriff's Department during a motorcycle fundraiser. A free tour and cookbook from Mary Mac's Tea Room. And a huge spaghetti dinner thrown by local restaurant owner Kurt McConnell that raised $4,000.
And with every single one of these things being ticked off her bucket list, at no point did Mary Bennett feel bad enough to come forward with the truth, that being she is faking cancer. Now, they asked the sheriff at the police station if there was ever any indication of Mary Bennett actually having any type of cancer, and this is what he said.
Is there any evidence Mary Bennett has ever had cancer?
Not based on anything I've learned in my investigation.
Which is no surprise, because actually her alibi to all of this was because she wanted to make herself unalive at the end of this. Now, we talk about how when people fake cancer, I don't understand their end goal. Normally, when you have weeks to live with something as serious as this, you normally end up dying. Well, that was her plan, actually, although she never followed through with it. Now, that all being said, I find it a little bit like an alibi towards the judge. I don't really fully believe her, and why would I? She's not exactly the most truthful of people, is she?
I basically faked cancer so that, I could kill myself.
But how was it exactly that Mary Bennett got caught? because obviously it's very hard to tell if someone has cancer or not from symptoms ranging from a variety of things. Well, it wasn't the fact that she wasn't really showing any signs, although people did have their suspicions because of that. No, one of the main reasons that she got caught to be lying was because of all the stories that she used to tell. One of those stories being the fact after having that spaghetti dinner fundraiser in which they raised $4,000 for Mary Bennett, she went to Houston, took her parents with her, and also claimed that she is now seeing a professional specialist in ovarian cancer. It's things like this that really got her caught in the end, because after some people doing some research, this is what they found.
We don't know this person. We have not treated this person. This person is not a patient.
So MD Anderson says they've never seen her before.
Correct.
Emory says they've never seen her before.
Correct.
None of these places say that they've ever treated her for cancer.
Correct.
But after being caught red-handed, using her special knowledge on cancer and using it against people into generating money, her story kind of changed. She didn't have cancer anymore, but now she has mental health issues, and this was the reasoning behind all of this. Honestly, no, it looks like a massive alibi to just get a free out of jail card, and I just don't understand how somebody like this could commit to this new persona, especially when you are a nurse, someone who goes to hospital on a day-to-day basis, seeing patients that probably suffer with stuff like this. Cancer is a very common thing. In fact, I'm sure many of you watching right now are extremely pissed off by someone like this because you know someone or have someone that you've known in your family or friends that has died from cancer. But despite all of that, she went through with it and scammed people out of thousands of dollars. It's so bad, in fact, that this article describes how much she ended up stealing and all the types of things that Mary Bennett got to do while faking cancer.
A Georgia woman is facing multiple criminal charges after she allegedly faked having cancer in order to get donations. Mary Bennett, 29, is accused of felony forgery and a misdemeanor charge for theft after allegedly lying about a fake cancer diagnosis to get money and gifts from people in her local community, police said. Deputy Epifanio Rodriguez of the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office told ABC News today that authorities were tipped off by an anonymous caller who accused Bennett of faking her illness to get money and other benefits. After a lengthy investigation, police determined that Bennett had never been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, Rodriguez said, and that she had received free tips and money to help with the disease. She would go to great lengths and shaved her head to appear to be a cancer patient, Rodriguez told ABC News. Calls by ABC News to a phone number listed to Bennett were not immediately returned. Bennett's attorney, Jacob Stidham, declined to comment to ABC News, citing the pending case. Investigators have evidence that Bennett was faking her illness for at least 2 years, Rodriguez said, and police are looking into whether the scheme stretched back to 2010. Bennett, who was a licensed practical nurse, received free tickets to an Atlanta Braves game, a free trip to Houston, and even went skydiving, police said. Police estimate that in total she received $25,000 in gifts and money from people wanting to help her through her illness, Rodriguez said. When police asked her to produce evidence she was indeed sick, Rodriguez said Bennett falsified documents from an oncologist at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. That doctor said, "That is not my signature and I never signed that, and she has never been a patient of mine," Rodriguez told ABC News. Bennett was arrested on January 8th and was released on January 11th after posting a $2,365 bond, police said. Rodriguez said the case is still pending and the theft charge could be upgraded to a felony if more victims are found. The sheriff's department in her home county says Mary Bennett was a fraud. Suzanne Lawler told you how Haley Heath of Bolingbrook took Bennett on what she called a bucket list hunting trip. Detective Jeffrey Rowe told us Bennett didn't have cancer at all, but accepted thousands of dollars in donations and trips.
Now, we get to the section in the video after the fact of her faking all of this stuff. So, after Mary Bennett here has been caught, and now she appears in court, pleading, trying to give her alibi for this whole situation. Now let's give this a watch.
I didn't know how to stop it. It was like a snowball effect. It just got bigger and bigger, and at that point I just honestly, I didn't know what to do.
There were real survivors walking, real people on chemo walking in those walks, moving forward, and she's getting all of this accolade for, putting herself out there in the midst of all of her pain and agony.
I'm extremely remorseful that I have hurt so many people, and I wish more than anything that I could take it back.
Honestly, a lot of the times we end up watching stuff like this, I always find the interrogations to be so pitiful. It's not as if they actually feel sorry. They're just sorry they got caught. What, you really think Mary Bennett here wouldn't like to go and jump out of another plane? It's a shame that the parachute actually worked. With her still lying about everything, even now, and so much in fact that it seems like she's even managed to trick her own parents. Of course, her parents are gonna believe anything she says, but there does become a point in time you gotta realize this is your daughter and they did something like this. They should be disciplined. It doesn't matter what age they are. By the way, 29? Does this look like a 29-year-old to you?
She decided to trick people into thinking she died of cancer instead of by her own hand.
Jesus Christ. She is aged worse than a president, honestly, while just achieving as much as one. But this is what her family had to say after the court hearing took place.
We had no reason not to know that our daughter didn't have cancer.
But she fooled you just like everybody else in this community.
She did, and we still stand beside her.
Now, thankfully, in this case, it actually has a little bit of a different ending. The others we watch, it seems like the judges almost get fooled into believing that they are actually sorry for what they've done and give them a very light sentence, like the one we watched recently with that TikToker who was extremely young, and the judge basically just let her off. She had to pay back everyone, yes, but she didn't get any prison time.
This experience, has been by far one of the most difficult things to navigate in my life. It has been very scary and challenging in more ways than one. I fully acknowledge that what I did was wrong, and I am incredibly sorry. If there was anything I could do to take it back, I would. The reality is that I can't.
Now, you guys will be glad to hear it's not the same in this story. In fact, the judge called BS on a lot of the things that Mary Bennett did. For example, she only mentioned about her tragic stories after she got caught. And, of course, when she was getting her donations and ticking off all the things on her bucket list, she could have said at any point that her cancer has stopped. But she didn't. She carried on with no intent of looking like she wanted to quit.
Turns out the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department was sent the same material. Mary Bennett is now charged with theft and forgery, accused of faking medical records to make it look as if she were a cancer patient.
So, what was the final sentence of Mary Bennett?
That's the reason you have to pay for this crime.
Well, Judge Bentley sentenced Mary Bennett to 5 years in prison, 15 years probation, and on top of all of that, she must pay back every single person that she scammed. With a full statement of all the charges that Mary Bennett got right here.
An Atlanta woman who police say pretended to have cancer to receive donations was arrested again Wednesday. Mary Allison Bennett, 29, faces 4 charges of fraud, including a felony charge of financial identity fraud, and 2 charges of forgery in the first degree, according to jail records. Bennett, 29, was arrested in January, about 5 years after investigators believe she started faking stage 4 ovarian cancer. She was charged with first-degree forgery and misdemeanor taking and released on bond. Overall, authorities believe she received donations, free trips, and gifts valued at about $25,000. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution previously reported. She fed off the kind-heartedness of the people in this community, Sheriff's Deputy Epi Rodriguez said. Roswell-based Homestead Hospice hired Bennett, and when her employer heard that she had cancer, they requested documentation showing Bennett was fit to perform her job. According to Channel 2 Action News, Bennett then provided the company with paperwork saying that she could perform her duties, but the paperwork was forged by a doctor's signature. According to Channel 2, Bennett is being held without bond in the Fulton County Jail.
With apparently straight after the sentence, Mary Bennett now claims that she is going to be working on her mental health, which is kind of ironic. I mean, she's going to have 5 years to really work on that, isn't she? Behind metal bars. Oh, and if you feel a little bit of petty for her, maybe perhaps that was a bit of a harsh sentencing. On top of her bucket list and taking money from people, she even took part in a cancer walk, a GoFundMe, a fundraising charity for cancer, as she headlined it and was the person everyone was looking up to, thinking that she had cancer when she didn't.
Mary walked as a cancer survivor, wore a mask because she claimed her immune system was compromised. But the whole time, continued to work on that bucket list.
Raising money as people tell you their battles with cancer as you go and pretend that you have it as well. Just lying to them, using your knowledge again as being a nurse to manipulate them into now feeling sorry for you. Obviously, she's been stripped of her job and she doesn't have a job. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be very hard for her to find work in the future. Good. I feel like these videos are always so important. So if you guys wouldn't mind sharing this one, leaving a like and a comment down below really helps the algorithm. Maybe this can just deter other people from thinking it's a great idea to fake cancer in the future. With that all being said, hope you guys enjoyed today's video and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.